One of my earliest and by far most viewed videos is my Ballistol versus Hoppe's comparison. In fact, 4 of my top 10 most viewed videos are CLP reviews. CLP stands for Clean, Lubricate, and Preserve. Like all CLPs, MIL-SPEC Break-Free promises to be an all-in-one product. I've come up with a couple simple tests to see if a CLP can both clean and preserve. I use a piece of mild steel flat stock for my comparison testing. I sand it down to 400 grit and clean it with brake cleaner. I separate it into sections with masking tape. I'm sure the mild steel does not exactly match the metallurgy of a gun barrel, but I believe it provides a good test surface to compare products. For the first test, I compare the CLP's ability to dissolve burnt gunpowder residue. I put the CLP up against good old Hoppe's No. 9. Hoppe's No. 9 is a well-known and very effective dedicated powder solvent, so I think it's an appropriate benchmark. And yes, it is actually Hoppe's, not Hops, per the company's YouTube channel. I ignited a roughly equal amount of gunpowder in each section. I used Hodgdon's tight group. Here's a close-up of the burnt powder in each section. I applied the MIL-SPEC Break-Free to 2 sections and the Hoppe's No. 9 to 1 section. I let the product soak for 5 minutes. I scrubbed each section with a brass brush to simulate a bore brush. Then I wiped with a clean patch. I cleaned the wire brush with brake cleaner between each section to minimize contamination. The can of MIL-SPEC Break-Free recommends an overnight soak for best results. So I waited until the next morning to brush and wipe the last section. Here's a close-up of each section. I was impressed with how well the MIL-SPEC Break-Free performed. The overnight soak did seem to slightly improve its effectiveness. The second test is corrosion protection. I resanded the steel with 400 grit and cleaned it with brake cleaner. I like to use WD-40 for comparison in this test because it is a very familiar and available product. I think any CLP should, at a minimum, be able to protect against corrosion as well as WD-40. I applied a thin film of each product to the steel. I left the center section unprotected. The can of MIL-SPEC Break-Free recommends a 2-hour cure time for best results. I mixed 1 teaspoon kosher salt with 1 cup of warm tap water and filled a spray bottle. I supported the steel flat vertically in a scrap of wood. The saltwater spray is supposed to simulate a worst-case scenario of sweat-stained skin coming in contact with the firearm. Here's a close-up of each section just after spraying. I waited 24 hours. After 24 hours, the salt water had dried and crystallized on the steel. The plain steel section was obviously corroded. Both the WD-40 and the MIL-SPEC break-free protected the metal from corrosion. I was impressed with how well the MIL-SPEC break-free performed in my tests. It is a definite improvement over the old formula. It joins Ballistol and Cleanse Oil as the only CLP products that I've tested that can dissolve burnt gunpowder residue close to as well as a dedicated powder solvent. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a head-to-head comparison of these three products. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. I've got a playlist of all of my Ballistol and CLP tests. Check it out.